Hello everyone, welcome to my series Alchemize Your Pain. And today is my aha moment. We have Dr. Sangeeta Shah with us. She's a theta healer. She's a past life regression therapist. She's a very special person to me because my journey into this world of knowing there is a bigger picture behind all your disease started with her. So excited to have you over here, doctor. So let's dive
Thank
into what
you.
she has to offer our viewers out here. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Nipam. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you again. So, hi viewers, I'm Sangeeta Shah. I'm an emotional wellness coach and I'm an intuition coach. And we use many different healing modalities, alternate healing modalities to work with the mind body connection. So, today, what we are going to speak more about is the complete mind body connection and the technique that I developed from my last few years practice on working with many people is balanced emotional empowerment. So we all know, Nipam, that as human being what happens is that everything in our life is being measured with how we are feeling about it. And so, for example, today I'm feeling happy, probably because today was something I ate food which I really enjoyed. Or I would say that I suddenly got a phone call that you are getting an award and I'm feeling happy. But every time, whether it is work related, whether it is the relationship dynamics, whether it is the health, and you ask somebody, "Hi, how are you?" And people say, "Oh, I feel good." So anything and everything, we constantly use the terminology, how I feel about it. If I want to go for exercise, I have to feel good about it to do it. If I am eating something and I'm working, there is a drive within me and that motivation or inspiration that comes within me when I feel charged and I feel good about it. So if everything is based on how I feel about it, then how many of us really know how to work with our feelings? Is there any measurement? Is there anything where I can measure in the morning and say that today I'm going to have 10 grams of happiness? I will mix it with 5 grams of bravery, and then I will put in 10 grams of courage into it, and then some 20 grams of joy into it, and then I churn it and mix the juice out of it and drink it for me to remain happy and charged for the day. Normally, we do not know.
Definitely no.
But at the same time, everything that we do in the life is driven by how we feel about it. And how we feel is driven by our emotions. So, what emotions we experience. And our emotions derive and that they decide the body chemistry as well. So, we
Do you
all
mean to
know
say
that,
emotions are the main culprits of whatever we go through all through our life?
yeah, why culprit? I mean, emotions are something which makes life worth living.
Yes.
For
But
example,
if
even if
we
you
know
go,
exactly how much and when and how, I mean, if we have that control, right?
yeah, so the thing is that none of us are constantly aware in that every moment what emotion I'm experiencing, consciously or subconsciously, and how to change my emotion dynamics, how
Okay.
to create it, because there can be something, for example, if a child is being bitten by a dog in the childhood, or in the childhood the child has experienced fear from the parents, and one of the parent was always teaching the child through shouting or screaming, so the child constantly starts having the belief system that if I have to learn, my mother is always angry, anger is the only way I can communicate, and it gets stored, those emotions get stored in the different parts of the body.
Okay.
Now, the similar situations in the future, child reacts only with what he has been programmed with, what we call the belief systems. And his body, it's beyond his control. So even if there are few people who have those fear and phobias, And there is no logical reason. Why should I feel that if I was bitten by a dog 20 years back, every dog that comes on the road is not going to bite me? But my body will still feel that palpitation. My breath will suddenly become
Yeah,
very fast.
natural reaction. Yes.
And even if you're watching a movie, suddenly you feel that trauma. So it's like the memory which goes on getting repeating in your subconscious mind, and it constantly unknowingly in your unconscious, it reminds you of your pain, and your body reacts in the same way how body reacted initially. So
Okay.
this is a cycle we all get trapped into, because you cannot keep a call on every day what you are experiencing, and how will you change those reactions. So in my early career, I found that whether the client comes with a fourth stage cancer problem, or it is an autism they're talking about, or they are talking about any skin disease, or they are talking about relationship issues, or they are talking about that my admission in the college is not happening, they're talking about I went through a surgery, they're talking about there was an accident, I want a house, I want promotion in the work, I just want to spiritually grow. Anything and everything was driven by their emotions and their experiences. And since your experience has already happened, I cannot change it. But again, the problem was not in what you experienced at that time, because problem was always in your reaction to the situation. So how you react in that,
So I
and
have
that
a
your
question out here. So you mean to say I mean, obviously, if I'm growing up and I have stored those memories, I really can't work on that, and neither I can change my surroundings. So how do you work with that? Like, obviously this is a very ongoing thing. So how do you take that
yeah.
out, just overcome it?
Yes, that's exactly, that is what I was explaining, that the problem is in our perception to the situation. The problem is never with the situation itself. So, for example, even in the current condition of COVID 19, so there are people who are completely trapped into the cycle of fear, and they are very anxious about it. Even though we all know that the fear and anxiety is something which will reduce your immunity. The COVID 19 is going to remain for a while with us. It is about how we all will learn how to live with it rather than constantly fearing it. But the fear of unknown, because it is a completely unknown situation. Fear of unknown is gets stored in our navel chakra. So when we did a workshop for people, we in fact activated the navel chakra to release their fear, and we use the same technique, this balanced emotional empowerment, which I will show you in a while, how to use it to release it. So I will just give you an example. We had some client, and this client came to us saying that suddenly he started feeling fear of death, and he got all his medical reports checked. He went to all the possible doctors, because the fear of death and the constantly feeling I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die was not just living him. And nothing, because all the medical reports were normal, everything was fine, but even after that he constantly felt that. So what happened that when this client came to us, and when we started working on him using the B technique, he went back to the memory of where he had visited a friend's wife who had delivered a baby, and he had been there. And when he went to the nursery to see the baby, suddenly one of his own memory got triggered. So years back, when he was a newborn baby, he was a very weak baby. And that point of time, when he was in the nursery, the two of the nurses were talking to each other, and they just said, "This baby is going to die, is not going to survive." That memory got triggered, and suddenly he started feeling that where is that coming from? So when we started using the B technique, we released it. And after that, I asked him that, now when you look at it, and he said, absolutely, I don't feel any fear. I feel I am absolutely fine. So there are, like, we all have so many things attached to our past.
This is like, when he was a child and that memory was stored in him and it aggravated right now.
Yeah. There are times the child, one case which is very close to my heart, and that case came in a very initial years or the stage of my life when even I was learning. And this child had the genetic disorder. The child's body could not produce cortisol in the body, which is required for anything and everything that you experience in life. And the side effect was that he had multiple issues. The body's growth hormones get damaged with it. Then you have dyscalcia, dysgraphia. You have slow learning. He had multiple problems, the sodium potassium imbalance. And he had to be injected the cortisone, the steroid for it from birth. He remained in the ICU unit for 14 months after the birth. And there is nothing which can help him, like, to reverse the thing. So when this child came, I started working on the mother for the improvement of the child. That is what something we call proxy work. It's like an internet connection. So when you connect the higher selves of both the person, the party, and somebody else who is willing to be their proxy, the mother in the third round of the B technique went into the womb memory of the child. And then she said, I'm hungry. So I just asked her that, I said, Susan, what happened? Because I'm hungry is something very normal. Like, it doesn't sound that there is some problem coming from there. And she said, my mother doesn't have time to give me food. She's giving food to my grandparents first. And India, majority people believe that first you give food to the elders.
Yes.
And then you eat your food. I mean, that's what they consider as a very positive mindset. And so I said, how does this make you feel? Because it's always about how you felt emotionally about it. And then she said, I feel so unloved. I feel so unwanted. I have decided that when I come out in this world, my parents' 100% attention will be only on me. And it's not something which I am telling, like, she is getting the message. And then she started crying profusely. And then I had to ask her, who is this person crying, the child or the mother? And she said, no, it is me, the mother, who is crying, because I never realized that this is what my child felt. And as we simply started releasing that emotion that the child felt unloved or unwanted, the child started showing improvement. And this was the reason for me to go and learn Theta Healing, because Theta Healing introduces the genetic work. And that was my first case where I actually did the genetic work. And to our surprise, after doing the genetic work, after a month when they went for the blood test, the doctor started laughing and he said, I do not know how this happened, but it's a miracle, because his body has started producing cortisone. The reports have changed completely. And similar way, the second case of an autistic child, which the symptoms got completely reversed. The third case was lymphoma Hodgkin's, fourth stage. By then, I had understood that mind and body are so interconnected. And it comes from a memory which logical mind can never ever perceive, that if my mother did not eat food when I in the womb felt hungry, that can lead to me having one of the rare genetic disorder. Because to your logical mind, it just doesn't make sense. So the technique is being developed in a very easy and gentle way, because our mission is to make this world or to see the world where people are emotionally balanced and empowered.
And I think
We
that
really
is
wish to give
very,
them more.
very important. That is really very, very important. And I feel emotions, what you're talking about, should be taught in the early stages of the schooling, in fact.
Absolutely. So it's in the pipeline where we are preparing sort of a curriculum for these kids called Enlightening Minds, where from the first standard onwards, we will introduce them to the emotions, how to handle these emotions.
That
And because we did this workshop with children, and when we taught them emotions, and they picked up it very well. It was beautiful because one child came back next day and very lovingly he said, Auntie, yesterday, you remember I told you every day in the dream I get this thing, and you used to see ghost and, fear of dark, not being able to use the washroom alone, and sometimes bedwetting and everything. So he said, Auntie, yesterday night also all those figures came into my dream, and initially I got fearful, but then I suddenly remembered what you had taught me. So in my dream, I started picking up all the cupcakes and I started throwing it on the ghost, and the ghost ran away.
wow, that's
And so because children do not have this bias that, oh, a ghost can't run away from cupcakes. So they learned a lot, they changed, they were more balanced, they were in charge. And I mean, none of our religions have ever taught us how to handle our emotions.
yeah.
None of in the schooling system we ever learned what are the major emotions we have, and that none of the emotions are good or bad. We are not saying that anger is a negative energy, because at the time somebody, say for example, somebody is hitting me, that time only that anger will give me the adrenal rush and the strength to be able to fight. The survival mechanism sometimes gets kicked in with that. But imbalance, anything in excess or anything which is in lack, is the problem.
Wow.
What happens, Deepam, is that how you eat food every day.
Yeah.
So what happens is the food that you eat, even if you are eating very nutritious food, you are exercising, you have very good sleep cycle, the food that your body requires, the vitamins, enzymes, your body will take it in. Now, whatever is not required, what does your body do? Through your perspiration, your urination, your stool, your body will throw it out.
Yes.
Imagine that for few days, your system of throwing it out completely stops. Forget few days. If imagine for 2 days you cannot urinate, you cannot pass stools, you stop perspiration, and you still continue eating all the nutritious food, you still exercise, you still have a good sleep cycle. Tell me what will happen to you.
I mean, obviously, I would be rushing to maybe ICU, because this is something which has to be working.
It
This is
has to clear. So clearing
has to
systems
be
is more important than
exactly.
what you are putting
And
in.
how
Even
beautifully you have explained it out here. Like, we take a lot of care of what are we eating, balancing, and but clearing system, which is the most important system, whether it is your emotion or whether it is your food, is important.
yeah. So we never keep a count on what is the food we have taken in form of emotions in a day. Because in a day, how many thoughts you had, there is no count. What did you feel in every thought that you had produced? You have no count. So what is the system through which body actually throws out the emotional toxicity? So ideally through your dream cycle, you throw out the emotional toxicity. So for example, you go to sleep at 12 and you wake up at 6. Your 6 hours of dream cycle is being split into 3 parts. So the first 12 to 2 is something we call the processing dreams, where from your conscious mind, the messages and the files are getting uploaded into the subconscious mind. And then it will tell you whether this is the positive or negative file. That is how I will react. The second one is something what we always called the predictive dreams. So during that time, your subconscious keeps account and actually informs you that what can happen in your future. And the third, the last phase, the last one third part, what happens is we call it venting dreams. So venting dreams is the time you actually throw out the emotional toxicity. But there are times you have stored extra anger, extra resentment, rejections, prejudices, grudges, anger, hatred. So anything that you have stored which is in excess obviously will somewhere show in your physical body, and that thing can harm you. So that is where you require either a technique or go to somebody who will help you to clear the emotional toxicity there. So it's at most important. You clean your house regularly. You go for bath every day. You brush your teeth every day. You eat your food. You drink water. This all is something in your body. Like even you go for your manicure, pedicure, your waxing.
Everything, a single thing. Yes.
So why can't you just go to release your emotional toxicity? It is the utmost important thing.
So,
That
can you just tell our viewers out here few techniques which they can utilize and transform their emotions into that balanced state? Like how they can utilize maybe few tips, techniques, whatever.
yeah. So I will just introduce the technique. So this whole technique is based only on two things. One is through a particular phrase, you remove the emotional toxicity. And the second point is just there is our thymus point, like four fingers down. So,
Mm-hmm.
like both the hands on the chest, you close your eyes, and through your breathe in and breathing out, you release it. And then each layer of the emotion starts surfacing up. So, one thing I will just tell viewers that anytime you are going through a difficult situation or a tough situation in life, something as simple they can do is that, for example, they are feeling fearful. They can close their eyes, they can think about what is this fear, where do I feel it, and how would I feel, where is this coming from? Irrespective of whether I have received the answer or not, I remain in that situation rather than running away from it. And to my thymus point, which is here, if I think about my fear and I close my eyes for a minute and I start tapping it, the way in which I am tapping it right now. So if I just start tapping it and I just go on saying, change, changing, it is changed. 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 And that will actually make you feel much better. So the first point is anytime you feel anything, simply just go to your thymus point, do the thymus point tapping, and just use the thing, change, changing, and it is change, it will help you. The second thing which I want to tell them is have the mindfulness in your own thought process. Because what you think in 30 seconds time, you are being given saying the tatastu from God. Like it's like, okay, this will happen. So
Okay.
be very careful of what you are demanding, because whatever you have, whatever is happening in your life is something you asked for. So you are the one who created it consciously or subconsciously, and you are the only one who can discreate it. The power is with you. You are the co-creator. So invoking that divine consciousness, grounding your energy, and you take charge of it. So be very careful of when you say something negative. By chance, by habit, if you even if you say, just in your mind, just say that it is cancelled, and then think about the positive thought form. The third technique, which like we actually teach in a full 2 day class to people, and we go very much in depth to teach them, is that on your knees. Knee is the chakra of change. You can move your hands from inside to out. On your knees, you just move your hands from inside to out. And you can speak about your problem. And you can say, for example, even though I have this headache, or even though I'm fearful of COVID 19. So you can move your hands on the knees, or you can tap on the karate chop. You can do any of the things and just speak about the problem, saying the phrase, even though I have this fear of COVID 19, I still choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself and heal and integrate that part of me. When you say that, you put both your hands on the chest, you close your eyes, breathing in all the positive energy, breathing out all the negative energy through your mouth, and your subconscious will start opening up and start taking you to a stage where you feel you are completely fear free zone. It is a technique which is based more on the wordings. So we, when you join the class, that time we teach you ideally how the client is.
Whosoever wishes to learn, I mean, they get benefited with the techniques, and they can definitely connect with you, and they can go deeper into this knowledge
Yeah,
and
yeah, I feel
transfer.
everyone should learn it.
Yes. So is there any morning routine you suggest, or you be like, okay, this is the time we should do it every day, or it's as and when, whenever the emotion is coming out, just be there, be present, and just do it? How do you suggest it?
What I do is like my morning routine is like when I wake up in the morning. So first 5 to 7 minutes, I'm still sitting in the bed in the Namaste posture, and so I do little bit of my own chanting at that time. And that point of time, I'm still focusing only on my breath and where the breath is coming in, where the breath is going out, because that is the time both your nadi, Zida and Pingla, we have said like these are the main nadi, the Sushumna nadi, which is connected with your Kundalini. So this is the time they are very, very powerful. So I just allow it to heal my body at that point of time, and I do the chanting. So the chanting itself has the words which vibrates with a very positive energy. So obviously, like that time, unknowingly, my brain is not going for any other thought forms. So the first thing you do is definitely avoid WhatsApp messages, your phone, your emails, and all. Just be in that and with a positive chant when I am. So this is also, my aura is also zipped, and it's only with my own aura, and I'm sitting and connecting, so that 5 7 minute goes completely in my own inner connection. And after that, like I do actually lot of Ayurvedic things, so I do oil pull. So I take virgin coconut oil or sometimes sesame oil, and I put it in the mouth and keep it for 5 minutes, and then I throw it. And as you then brush your teeth and finish, the early morning walks are very good, because that time the oxygen, so it automatically gets you in a very happier mood and all. But that time, like normally I'm listening to a very motivational songs, and it is the same songs which I am then the yoga pranayam for your breathing exercise, taking your shower early, and for me my lunch also I finish by 9:30 10. No, this is my routine, because then I have 6:30 and go to sleep at 9, because that time your adrenals are getting rejuvenated and all. So like your sleep cycles are very, very important as well. So this is the routine that you asked for
Yes.
every day.
So, I mean, I'm
Whenever,
just amazed, how you set the day. I mean, just being in that few hours, if you spend with your own self, you're set for the whole day. That's really a
and set
very,
for the whole day.
yes.
And there are times, we all are human beings, and there are situations where emotionally you feel little low. You feel down, that why did somebody speak to me like that? why the situations are like that, because we all constantly get programmed from the mass consciousness
Yes.
and from the people around us, from the TV, from everything that's happening around us. So in that situation, I always have one simple funda to tell people. So you always think about what is happening to you. So for example, somebody is shouting at you, and by your reaction to the situation is always suddenly you either feel like crying, or you feel frozen, or you feel angry and you want to shout it back. So that point of time, I very quickly ask myself, like, what am I feeling? And say, for example, if I feel like crying, first thing I do is, the opposite of crying is what? Happy. So I will start telling myself, I'm still in the conversation with a person, but I start an internal chat with myself, and I constantly start repeating with myself, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. So when I'm saying constantly I'm happy, suddenly my body can't produce the chemicals for me to even cry. And then, as and when I have my own time, my own zone, that time I sit with myself, I work on myself, that why did I attract the situation where somebody will be shouting at me, and why this happened. If I feel a situation where I'm fearful, so then I will instantly start saying that all is well, all is well, all is well, all is well, I'm strong, all is well. Anything which resonates to you, and a very small affirmation. So the minute you start affirming it, your body can't produce, so slowly and gradually it releases. And one final tip to viewers: when I go to sleep, during the day, whatever has happened, I take out that 5 minutes time to just sort of view my day's routine. That today what had happened, where did I go off balance, what, how did I feel emotionally there, did I get hurt, was there something. And I have recorded my own forgiveness meditation,
Okay.
in that where I give myself three options, whether when sometimes you want to tell the person what did they do and that's why you got hurt, sometimes you want to explain them, sometimes you just feel, oh, it was my mistake and you please forgive me for what I did. So I just start with that forgiveness meditation of 7 minutes. I
Wow.
listen to it, I think about those people, and I just imagine and close the day with a positive mind. Again, the chant, then the whole room is dark, put a eye patch, and go to sleep. And in 5 minutes, I'm off to bed.
We
So
were
that's
diving into that zone of yours, and I could feel each and every emotion with that journey, with the routine of yours. And it was actually an honor and my pleasure to have you here, and with all the tips you have shared with my viewers and our viewers. And I know definitely they are going to use these tips, and I am sure that transformation will definitely occur. And we are
right.
so lucky, she's giving us a freebie. And please, if you want to avail, click the link below, and that's avail that offer, whatever she has to give it to us.
Sure.
And
It will be, we will be very happy, because with the current situation, a lot of people are going through a lot of fear and anxiety
yes,
related to the COVID-19 situation, and what will happen to the economy, and what will happen to their health, their
yes,
family, and their work. So, using the same B technique, and I will be doing the Neville activation and theta downloads and many things during that
how,
process
how did we
of
become so
Sure.
lucky to have you here, Dr. Sangeeta? It was our pleasure, and thank you, viewers, for watching us, and hope you transform your pains into an alchemy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Neera.